Hey gamers, 2026 is shaping up to be a massive year for Souls-like titles. Studios worldwide, including developers from China, are cooking up brutal combat, dark worlds, and bosses that punish every mistake. If you're a fan of the heavy hitters of the genre, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, and Nioh, then you've come exactly in the right place. So this is the top 20 new Souls-like games you should be ready for in 2026. Let's get started. Before we go into the list, I want to tell you about my favorite place to buy games, and that's Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an awesome site for grabbing games at great prices. Not only they always have fantastic discounts, but also they running giveaways you won't want to miss. Seriously, these deals are hard to beat. Where else are you gonna find prices this good? Why pay full price when you can grab the same game for way less, right? Yeah, you can shop for games on all kinds of platforms, like PC, PS5, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. There are also numerous convenient products to enhance your gaming experience, such as subscriptions, gift cards, and many more. No worries, it's 100% legit, fast, and super easy to use, and their support team is available 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Go check out your favorite games by using the link in the description below and start saving your cash with Instant Gaming. And by using my link, you're not just getting awesome deals, but also supporting this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Unleash the Avatar, India is finally dropping its own Souls-like. This game takes Indian mythology and flips it into a dark alternate universe where demons from Narika invade the human world. You play someone carrying a fragment of Vishnu's power, fighting Asuras and Rakshasas in ruined cities built from real scanned locations across India. Of course, because this Souls-like, combat is the hook, tight dodges, parries, and a unique chakra weapon you can throw, catch, and redirect mid-fight to chain attacks. There's also a feather prism form that changes how you engage enemies. The studio behind it, Aos Games from Bengaluru, is a 40-person indie team with devs who've worked on Ghost of Tsushima, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, and more, so you can expect what it's gonna be.
Time is of the essence.
Longevity Yin and Yang is a new AAA action game from China, a country that's rapidly becoming a fresh hub for ambitious AAA titles, especially those rooted in rich mythology. The game takes place during the Ming Dynasty, where you play as a covert imperial agent from the Secret Guard, known as Agent Jinyue. Your mission is to uncover the secret of immortality. This journey throws you into battles against ruthless sea pirates and powerful mythic creatures guarding the ancient secret. The combat is fast and reactive. Every perfectly timed dodge builds a unique energy called V.E.D.A, which you can then channel into powerful special attacks known as substance abilities. Moreover, the developers plan to deliver a story-driven experience lasting roughly 40 to 50 hours.
可这世上当真有神仙吗？
Unending Dawn is an anime-style Souls-like that might catch your attention, especially if you're a fan of Code Vein and Eye Limit. Its gameplay revolves around a stagger gauge. Both you and your enemies have one. Once it fills up, whoever maxes it out first gets stunned. The parry timing is a bit more forgiving than usual, making it easier to settle into the rhythm, but enemies still throw out red, unblockable attacks that force you to stay on the move. You can also switch between characters, each with their own unique skills and ultimates. Swapping mid-combat lets you pull off tag team style attacks. And if one character goes down, the other immediately jumps into the fight, keeping the action flowing non-stop. Daba, Land the Water Scar is a new title from indie developer Dark Star, and it's been drawing a lot of attention for its unmistakable Nioh and Dark Souls influences. The team recently released fresh gameplay footage, and right from the opening moments, it's clear that this is an Unreal Engine 5 action RPG set in a dark, atmospheric world. In this game, you take on the role of a humanoid clay puppet, and your mission is to recover scattered water fragments hidden throughout an ancient city. From what was shown during the China Hero Project presentation, the combat leans heavily into timing-based third-person action. That means tough enemies, combos you'll need to learn, and yes, a few deaths along the way as you adapt, which is exactly what you'd expect from a game carrying clear Souls-like DNA. Riven Crown is shaping up to be interesting Souls-like project coming out of Tunisia. The story revolves around curses, resurrection, and piecing together clues across interconnected regions. Some puzzles are even tied to the developer's social media, creating extra layers for players who want to dig deeper. The combat is where things take a different direction. You can string together combos, build a super meter, and use a dual kick system. Light kicks break blocks, heavy kicks push enemies or interact with the environment. Blocking also comes in two forms, standing and low, so positioning matters. Exploration includes dungeons, ruined landscapes, and cities with their own histories. Optional statues can raise your threat level, unlocking tougher boss fights for players who want more challenge. Vindictus, Defying Fate is essentially a solo or co-op action RPG that blends Souls-like combat with the classic big boss in a tight arena formula. You pick from 4 Vindictus veterans, all melee for now, and jump straight into a nicely presented town before heading out to linear stages packed with small fights and frequent bosses. Combat is all about timing light and heavy combos, mixing in blocks and dodges, and there's no stamina bar, so it's all about precision. The story leans into familiar fantasy themes, but the characters, voice acting, and overall tone make it approachable and easy to get into. You'll also find simple skill trees, character swapping, and companion, though the companion system clearly still needs refinement.
The merchants on the road.
The Relic. The First Guardian is an action RPG that drops you into a world being consumed by a massive void. You take on the role of the last Guardian, the final barrier between this fractured realm and complete collapse. What makes this game interesting is the progression system. There are no levels, your power comes completely from your gear, crafting, and runes. So instead of grinding XP, you're building your playstyle based on the equipment you choose. Now the real spotlight is the combat. It's fast, it's weighty, and the game gives you 5 weapon types that all fight differently. So if you enjoy action RPGs with strong, impactful combat and a progression system that doesn't rely on leveling, this is definitely a title worth keeping an eye on.
I'll be waiting for you there.
Beast of Reincarnation is an action RPG from Game Freak, a studio most players associate with Pokemon, but this time, they're venturing into something completely different. You play as Emma, an outcast cursed as the Blighted One. There's still little explanation about the true nature of this curse, but you won't be facing this world alone. You're joined by Ku, a loyal dog who accompanies you on a journey across a post-apocalyptic Japan. The game features what the developers describe as technical action combat, focusing on timing, positioning, and precision rather than button mashing. Beast of Reincarnation is confirmed for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam, and it will launch on Game Pass on day 1. There's no confirmation yet for the Switch 2, but the major platforms are already locked in.
Knowledge has grown.
Kromlech is a single-player action RPG with roguelite elements, placing you in the role of Kromlech, an adventurer living through the final days of a world inspired by Celtic mythology. The game introduces the crisis system. Major events occur throughout the world, and your decisions, your choice to ignore them, leave behind permanent effects called world scars, shaping how the world evolves and responds to you. Customization also runs deep. You can inscribe your gear, drink mystical potions, and even mark Chronic with war paint to tailor your character both mechanically and visually. Kromlech is set to arrive on Steam Early Access in 2026, launching with all core gameplay systems in place and expanding with additional content and optimizations during the Early Access phase. Dino Blade is a dinosaur-themed Souls-like, where you play as a Spinosaurus carrying a large sword in its jaws, taking on other dinosaurs through combat focused on dodging, parrying, and carefully timed attacks. While the graphics aren't designed to push modern hardware, the environments and music work well together to create a strong and atmospheric Souls-like tone. Battles are engaging but not excessively long, allowing you to keep moving forward instead of getting stuck on a single encounter. If the idea of exploring and fighting as a sword-wielding dinosaur interests you, Dino Blade is worth trying. It offers the familiar core elements of the genre, dodging, parrying, and challenging enemies, presented through a distinctive dinosaur setting. Kaidan is a Souls-like set in a dark fantasy of feudal Japan inspired from Japanese folklore. You play as a seeker, an individual caught between life and death. After making a pact with the envoy for a second chance, the seeker returns to the land of Ikaiguchi, where they must confront a wide range of terrifying yokai. The trailer highlights intense and brutal combat, with the seeker facing enemies that range from multi-limbed monstrosities to creatures that are difficult to even categorize. Kaidan's world blends cinematic sequences with fast-paced action. You'll need to carefully decide when to engage and when to retreat, as both yokai and bosses can easily overwhelm an unprepared player. The game offers both single-player and multiplayer modes, supported by a structure that leans toward extraction-light gameplay.
Lest you wash up again on my shores, your frail body shattered and broken.
Ballad of Antara is an action RPG Souls-like that lets you play as multiple emissaries traveling between two worlds. One is the normal overworld, and the other is a strange, twisted version called Para, where bizarre occurrences happen. The story, the fundamental essences from the overworld are being pulled into Para, and only the emissaries can move between the two to figure out what's going on. You'll be gathering other emissaries along the way, each with different abilities, to uncover the mystery behind the calamity affecting both worlds. There's also a young daughter who appears in the game, and you must protecting her. It's part of your journey as she grows up during the adventure.
Back. This place.
Black Myth: Zhong is the latest game from Game Science, announced during Gamescom 2025's opening night live. It's a single-player action RPG following the same format as their previous title, Black Myth: Wukong. The game is still in the early stages of development. Game Science shared a CG trailer, but there's no gameplay yet. The story focuses on Zhong, a mythological figure known as a demon and evil spirit exorcist. Game Science mentioned that Zhong will have a different playstyle and identity from Wukong, but players familiar with Wukong shouldn't have trouble picking it up. They also said that the Wukong story isn't fully finished, leaving the door open for a possible sequel or expansion. The Duskbloods is From Software's upcoming PvP game, coming exclusively to the Switch too. If you're into multiplayer action in a gothic vampire-filled world, this is the one to watch. From what we've seen, it's a competitive online experience where up to 8 players fight each other and NPC enemies to claim something called the First Blood. The story follows a protagonist who gains powers from a mysterious blood transfusion, but reaching their full potential depends on outlasting other players. Gameplay is third-person action, with some characters able to fly or bite enemies to gain abilities. Boss fights appear to be back as well, with huge enemies swinging massive weapons. Right now, the only footage is the reveal trailer from the Switch 2 Direct, which shows off the world, characters, and combat.
The moon tears will flow for one, and one alone.
Valor Mortis, a first-person Souls-like. From the developers behind Ghost Runner, you play as William waking up in the middle of a battlefield during Napoleonic Europe, surrounded by mud and corpses and a whole lot of chaos. The game puts you right into the action, and you've got a sword, a pistol, and even a bit of magic to deal with enemies. Combat is grounded in timing and stamina. You can block, parry, dodge, and land light or heavy attacks. The fight had 2 phases, and managing your stamina and upgrades made it doable without too much frustration. And yeah, Valor Mortis, the mix of first-person swordplay, pistol combat, and magic gave the fights a layered feel. It's coming in 2026, and there's definitely more to explore and tackle when it releases. V.E.D.A. The Awakening of Souls is basically a Souls-like action RPG mixed with roguelite training elements. The game seems like a combat simulator where you're thrown in, told to survive, and slowly figure out the system piece by piece. The combat is classic Souls-like, and you can also build up an overclock bar by staying aggressive, and once it's full, you can fire off a powerful finishing move. Since it's a roguelite, every run gives you randomized rooms, enemies, traps, and hidden areas. You can fight through everything, or just sprint straight to the boss. Overall, the game like a practice arena for Souls-like fans and newcomers who want to learn the genre without stressing over death. Lords of the Fallen 2.0's massive update is a revelation. It retunes the entire game into a faster, more fluid, Souls-like experience. Instead of being stuck in set attack animations, you can mix light, heavy, one-handed, and two-handed swings into smooth combos, giving the combat a more flexible feel than most games in the genre. Version 2.0 takes that same foundation and bumps up the responsiveness even more. If you're coming from the slower, more weighty style of classic Souls games, the faster pace here might surprise you, but it's easy to settle into. The update also improves performance across platforms thanks to Unreal Engine 5 optimizations. The UI also has been cleaned up too, making everything easier to read and navigate. Mortal Shell 2 just got announced at Summer Game Fest 2025. The reveal makes one thing clear. This sequel isn't trying to be subtle. You see revolvers, shotguns, brutal takedowns, and bosses that could easily fit into something like Resident Evil Village. But beneath all that noise, the game's core is a class-based system built around shells. Each shell is basically a different combat identity you can discover and inhabit, giving you access to its abilities and stats. Another detail is the combat approach. There's no stamina restriction. That puts Mortal Shell 2 closer to fast action titles like Wolong, or leaning more toward Ninja Gaiden's pace than something more methodical. The first game being described as a solid Souls-like with a straightforward punch, so this sequel already has attention on it.
You're no god, but neither are they.
How are you feeling? Time jump is successful.
Code Vein 2, if you never played the first game, Code Vein was basically Souls combat but anime, with flashy abilities and a lot more cutscenes than the usual cryptic Souls-like stuff. Combat looks familiar, and the partner system is also returning, and the Lu is confirmed as one of your companions. Bands of buddies running alongside them should feel right at home here. From what we've seen in the trailer, Code Vein 2 keeps the same core idea: weapons, special skills, and a mix of steady combat with flashy anime-style attacks. I'm also hoping the co-op mode comes back, because running through this kind of game with a friend is always a good time.
But now, I have you. Together, I have faith we'll find a way.
Nioh 3, the newest entry in Team Ninja's long-running action RPG Souls-like series. This is an open-world Souls-like, a big shift into an open-world Souls-like, which instantly changes how you move, fight, and plan your runs. Combat splits into Samurai form and Ninja form, each with its own weapon sets and new armor. Samurai gets stances and ki pulses, Ninja gets speed and mobility. Switching mid-fight matters, especially during boss battles. Soul cores now function more like spell tools, simpler than Nioh 2, but you can load up multiple Yin slots to customize your kit. Co-op is back with the Visitors, Acolytes, and the new Expedition mode. And speaking of co-op, Expeditions make running the world with others surprisingly smooth when everything connects properly.
How foolish of you to have entered the depths of hell!
And that's it for today. Those were lists the top 20 new Souls-like games you should be ready for 2026. Got a hidden gem I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or discovered a new title to add to your collection, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future content. Once again, if you want to buy games with cheap price, the link in the description. Okay, so thank you for watching and see you in the next video.